On this show, we talk about boxing and life, if you didn't guess by the name. So 1 week we'll do a boxing episode, 1 week we'll do a life episode. Last week with the Mindpump boys, it was about life and we got great response from that. Thank you for everyone who sent me the feedback and who enjoyed that episode. And this week, it's about boxing. There's been so much happening in the boxing world and we get into that. I'm joined today by my business partner, stud trainer, stud businessman, Kevan Watson, who also really knows his boxing. So we get into Lomachenko with his last fight with Linares and his achievement of becoming 3-weight world champion in just his 12th fight. We get into that and talk about his training methods, his mind training, his physical training, the way he's become such a machine and seems unbeatable. Even though he's already lost a fight, he seems unbeatable. We talk about the big man Tyson Fury returning to the ring in June, on June 9th. And with his opponent just being announced, I'll tell you a lot about his opponent, which I'm sure you don't know. We know he's got a great record, but I'll go into the background and tell you more and more about his opponent. Then we break down the pound-for-pound top 10 list by ESPN. I was surprised with this list. We talk about psychology in boxing, but the fighters and the way the fighters use their brains. We touch on Wilder, Joshua, which is the big fight everyone wants to see. Floyd Mayweather gets a mention in there as well. Also, at the start of this episode, we talk about our travels that we've got coming up with the Box and Burn Academy. The Box and Burn Academy is our education program where we teach trainers, fitness professionals, how to teach boxing to other people. When we travel in the world, we go to Australia, England. So if it's something you're interested in, go to boxandburnacademy.com and use code BOXANDLIFE2018 to save $100 off. If you enjoy the show, please leave us a review on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, wherever you listen to it, please leave a review. It really does help. And I know if you listen to other podcasts, obviously it helps the show. It really does help the show get more recognition from iTunes. And I put all my time, energy into this. I'm got any sponsors. It's all out of my own pocket. So if you can do that, that would be massive for me. Here it is, the Box and Life podcast with me, Tony Jeffries, and Kevan Watson. Enjoy. So in about 8 weeks, Kev's going to do something he's never done before.
That's what we're starting with, yeah.
That's what we're starting with.
Can't wait.
Which is leave America.
I know it. I know it's so embarrassing. I'm really very embarrassed to even say it, but yeah, better late than never.
I don't think it is very embarrassing because I notice I ask a lot of Americans and they don't leave. And you know, I've been here now for 6 years. I've left a few times, but it's like there's that much great stuff here. Obviously, there's great stuff around the world, but
sure.
Like, there's that much great stuff that's happening in America. Like, why? I can see why a lot of people don't really leave much.
It's funny you say that, though, if you think about it. Like, why don't Americans travel? Maybe if they did travel, maybe they'd have a different perspective on I think, the world and the politics of the world and everything, too, as well.
What's wrong with the politics of the world? Let's not get into that.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it's, you're right. There is a lot of great stuff here, but I think there's, I don't know, ever since I was a kid, you know, whenever we go on vacation, we'd go to Florida. That's what we did. Right. That's where we traveled. But, and there is a lot of, especially out on the West Coast, you know, in California alone, there's so many great things to do, but I don't think there's anything that can compare to traveling internationally, I would imagine.
It's mad knowing you and knowing a lot of your interest now with space and your interest in all of that stuff. It's like, it's kind of like a no-brainer for you to travel the world and see all this and experience all this.
Yeah, I might not come back. You might be on your own.
Yeah, so we're going to Sydney, Australia, and that's a place where you might not want to come back from, because I was in Melbourne in the Commonwealth Games in 2006, and Melbourne was absolutely amazing. It kind of reminded us of Santa Monica, like how Santa Monica, the nice part of Santa Monica, that's what it's like in Melbourne. And I loved it. And if I couldn't get my green card and my visa to move to America, I would have 100% moved to Australia. Really? So yeah, I loved it. I loved it. And why we going there is for the Box and Burn Academy, the level 1 and level 2 Box and Burn Academy. So that's our education program where we teach you how to teach boxing. And we kind of went in on a blind that was like, let's do Australia. Let's just do Australia. Like we get people asking quite often about doing Box and Burn franchise, about the gym, and we're not ready to do it yet. And we've had a few people asking from Australia, and we've had people messaging us, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people messaging us asking, when are you going to do a Box and Burn Academy in Australia? So it's like, let's do it, because these 1 or 2 people. And the bastards haven't even signed up.
We'll figure it out. We'll get it done. We'll get it done. Where there's a will, there's a way. But I think we've got some good. Hopefully, that 2XU connection is going to help us. They've been really good with us. So I'm hoping that'll help.
So we've been spending a lot of time and energy on trying to promote it and thinking of different ways, which is really good, because in America we do a Boxing Academy and they kind of sell out all the time. But now internationally, where a lot of people in the fitness industry don't know who Boxing Burn are, it's a bit of a challenge, and I'm kind of enjoying the challenge. Mm-hmm. And we are reaching out to everyone from Australia. So if you're from Australia and you listen to this, get in touch. We're doing that in Sydney, and as well England is another one. So that's in August. We're going to England. Kev's travelling again. Look at that, twice in 1 year.
I don't feel. Don't take this offensively, but I'm not as excited to go there because I'm with you guys all the time. So I feel like culturally I kind of understand that and experience that. Every day,
but England's a lot older than Australia and America. So I think there's more culture there. I think it might be a little bit more of an eye-opener for you, being there with all the history and all that shit.
Sure.
We're going there as well. So I'm trying to get in touch with all my contacts in England and to help for them to help us network it and grow it and all that. So that's something we've been working on as well. And then another thing we've got is San Jose. Round the corner in like 3 weeks, we're going to San Jose, teaching at the Mindpump gym and the Boxing Academy there, and we're promoting that. And I was up in San Jose last week with the Mindpump boys doing a podcast. They're helping promote it. Great people. If you listen to the last podcast that we did, it was me, Kevan, Glenn, we had them on, and just a great bunch of people. They actually invited us to a house party last week in Los Angeles, in Santa Monica, and I was in Venice.
Yeah.
They went in this massive mansion, but there wasn't like a house party where you would think, like, everyone there was influencers, business owners, podcasters who had like huge following, and it was a great networking event.
It was a really very cool, and they had sponsors and nice food and everything. It was a good time, especially for being in this industry and being around those people. It definitely helps to interact with those people and talk with them and see what they're doing. But what was that? What was the sponsor?
It's called Dorset.
Dorset, yeah.
Dorset. So Dorset, you tell them what Dorset is. You know more about this shit than me.
Well, it's just it's THC and CBD oil pin basically. So it's cannabis. It's a cannabis pin, and I guess they're the first ones that with the pin you actually get a set dosage every time you take a draw, and I guess they're the first ones to do it. But it's interesting. It's funny. I mean, they've got all these different strands. They have passion. They have bliss. They have sleep. And it's like, I don't know. To me, it all does the same thing. I honestly think it's brilliant marketing more than anything. I don't really buy into. I know a lot of people are super caught up in like, oh, you got to have this one if you want to sleep. You got to have this one if you want to have sex. Or you got to have this one if you want to, be social. And I'm just like, well. They pretty much all make me antisocial. They just make me super tired and want to eat a bunch of food. Which sometimes is a good thing as well. But
so I've never took a drug in my life, not in my life. And cannabis now, I'm hearing more and more about it, especially the CBD oils and all of the CBD, the benefits of that. I've been hearing it for a long time, but it's something that I've never really had any interest in doing, even though I'm big into biohacking and big into optimal performance, how to make my body perform better. But at this event, it was just like you see, it's great marketing, and they were like, well, this'll do this, and I'm like, no, what? Fuck it, let's try it. So I tried it, and I don't know which one it was, the Bliss, I think it was, which was supposed to make you feel good and talkative and chatty and all that.
Yeah.
And I got high for the first time in my life with Kevan. What a bad influence you are on me, mate.
No, just trying to open your eyes. No, it was so funny. We were sitting there eating, and the people were talking about it, and Tony just kind of leans over and says, I want to try it. And I'm like, are you serious? I was like, let's go right now before you change your mind. So we went over to the table.
So I had that one, then I had another one, and then I had a couple of glasses of wine as well. And I just kind of felt drunk. I don't know if I'm affected as the way people normally be affected. I don't know if it's you tell me if it's a thing where you've got to learn how to experience it, maybe?
A little bit, but it also, if you're drinking, the first time, it's going to be difficult, I think, to differentiate the two feelings.
Yeah.
I can feel it when I smoke because I'm very aware of it. even if I've been drinking, I'm aware of what it does to me. So, for you, if it's new, it's after you've been drinking, you might not have felt the effects as much. But those pins, I mean, those draws that you take on the pins aren't massive, like dosages.
Tell you when I slept like a baby that night when I went home, I slept great, and I was telling Kev, like, me next day, my wife she said when I woke up, have you been dreaming? And I was like, I'm not sure. She went, because you were making these noises like, I was like, what? Fuck yeah, what is this shit? No, I never told you. So when we left the party, they gave us like a goodie bag with some shit in and all that, and then it was one of them dosage pens. So I never told you this, Kev. So the next day, I was like telling Sarah's mum and dad, Sue and Nigel, about that, and they're like 62, my wife's mum and dad, and I was like, come on, have a try of it. So they both had a try of it, right? Mate, I'm not kidding. 10 minutes later, I was talking to Sue. She just went, whoa, what's happening? I feel weird. I cannot walk. And then, mate, this is at 6 o'clock at night. She went, Nigel, I've got to walk. I've got to lie down. I'm not feeling right. And I'm panicking now. I'm like, what the fuck's this? So he took her downstairs. 6 o'clock at night, she slept until 7 a.m. the next day, out like a light.
That's amazing.
My 62-year-old mother-in-law, I got her stoned for the first time.
She's probably smoked before, you don't think? Never?
I don't know.
Is it big in England?
No, it's not. Well, no. I've not lived there for 6 years, but now with the CBD oil is legal for, I think, don't quote me on this, for boxers, for who's getting injuries, for recovery and all that. So I don't know. It must be growing and getting bigger somehow. Yeah,
I mean, even in football, they're trying to get it just approved because as an alternative to the opiates, because that's causing such a problem for these guys. So with the aches and pains and.
Who was the guy who we had on the podcast before when we done it outside who burnt his head, and when he was telling us, Andy
Murphy.
Andy Murphy, and he was telling us that his dad's got Parkinson's disease, and his tremors, his shakes is very bad, and he said some CBD oil, and it cuts them off for like 95%.
Yeah.
When he told me that was when I really thought, like, nah, this is a game changer. This shit should be legal. Just after that one story.
Yeah, no, there's so many benefits for a lot of different people. I think it kind of affects everybody differently. I've smoked for a long time. I've pretty much kind of stopped most recently. I really don't smoke much at all anymore. But just because I started to feel some negative effects of it or from it. But I know a lot of people that don't abuse it, and it really does help them in a lot of ways, whether it's anxiety or sleep or pain or, something as extreme as Parkinson's.
One thing that kind of worries me about that party the night when they had it for sleep, to be more talkative, for sex, for passion, for this, for that. And I think now when I was talking to my wife about it, and she was the one who brought it up, she went, well, in the future, it might be like, oh, you need this, we'll take this. Or you want to do this, we'll do this. Yeah. Where really, maybe we don't need it. Yeah. But like now it's going to be put in kids' faces. Oh, you're feeling down, take this. Or you're feeling this, rather than dealing with it yourself.
No, absolutely. And I think that's also, like I said a little bit ago, I don't think that these different flavors or different strands actually do different things. I think it's all marketing. But that's the scary part of it, because if you are having a bad day, I just need a pull on my pen to, it's like, well, sometimes it's not a bad thing to just deal with a bad day and just go through it and feel the emotions of it. You don't have to run from that stuff. Yeah, that's a little bit unhealthy.
That's the scary part about it. So that trip to San Jose ended up fun for me and Kev. So the Boxing Academy in San Jose, June 10th, if you're interested. You can use Boxing Life 2018 for a code, and you can save $100 as well. So use that. So we've had some great boxing. Moving on to boxing now, we've had some great boxing fights and some great news coming with everything with Tyson Fury and all that. Lomachenko, 3-weight world champion in his 12th fight. What about that, Kev?
He's pretty outstanding. I mean, he's really amazing to watch. But he, in that fight with Linares, he looked human. Yeah. He was exposed a little bit, and I think it's maybe ultimately a good. Maybe he won't have such a hard time finding matchups now, right? Because of that. But
I mean, Linares, world-class fighter, very, very high level, and with Lomachenko moving up that many weights in such a short period of time, I think it's like, now stop moving up weights and grow into this weight category. But just unbelievable, like such a talent, and then like with his pedigree as well, winning the two Olympic gold medals, one in Beijing in 2008 and one in London 2012. I put a little poll out on my Instagram story today saying, do you think he's the best fighter ever, or do you think he could be the best fighter ever? And it was something like 72% of the people, out of like thousands of people who voted, said yes.
Really?
Do you agree?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. We haven't seen him enough yet. I mean, he's so mechanical, and he is just a machine. I mean, I've never seen anybody move the way he moves,
right,
off the side and on his angles, and obviously you've watched a lot more boxing than I have, but it's so hard to say. I mean, if he were to fight Mayweather, I mean, what do you think? I mean, like somebody like that. It's just so hard to compare, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's the weight difference is even. That would be the next weight up, I think,
right,
if he did fight Mayweather.
Yeah.
But I think it was Mayweather was in his like 30th fight or before he won his 3 world titles at 3 different weights, something like that. But obviously Mayweather turned pro when he was younger, so Lomachenko's had to be rushed a little bit further, because I think he's 32 now, 33, is he?
Sounds right. I think 32.
Yeah, but he's just such an interesting character. I've been watching more and more about him. Like lately, a couple of my clients are huge fans, and I've been really interested in his training, in his methods, and he trains his brain a lot. Yeah. Have you seen that stuff?
Yeah, I think they had it on one of the pre-fight shows, right?
Yeah,
a little bit.
about training his brain, which is great. Like, because that's unheard of to me, about doing stuff like that, training your brain, like trying to balance dominoes with both hands, and doing the machines on the walls, and what's the other one that he does? He does all sorts of crazy shit, and I just think it's great. And as well, I heard him on an interview saying that he has a psychologist who lives with him all the time. Like,
I didn't know that.
So working on his mind. It's funny, because you think people like that would have such a strong mind, he wouldn't need a psychologist.
Yeah, I mean, he's mastering his not only boxing, but he's becoming a master in ultimate control of everything he does, in his mind, his body, and his, whether he's competing or not. I think that just makes you more in tune with who you are, and kind of what you can do physically as well.
I remember I was speaking to Jason Clark, one of my clients, and Jason is the producer of the TED movies and all sorts. He's very, very successful. And I think Jason's he's becoming up 60 years old as well. And he's the most positive person that I know, great, super motivating. And told me that he sees a psychiatrist, psychologist every week or so. Yeah. And I was like, what? You? Why do you see one? Yeah. And he said, listen, Tony, he says, if you've got a Ferrari, just because it's a Ferrari, would you not take it to get serviced?
Yeah.
I'm like, he said, it's the same with the brain. You need to get it serviced, keep it sharp, keep it thinking.
It's true. It's true. I know a lot of people in LA do. I've been into see psychiatrists and psychologists growing up when I was younger. I dealt with a lot of anxiety and stuff, so I was in and out. And so I don't know if that turned me off of the idea from it a lot, but I think most successful people in this town I know have one. Yeah. Yeah,
you see it all the time on films and all that, and like where I'm from, it's like kind of unheard of. It's like, what? Why the fuck do you need one then? Yeah. You should be tough on it. But like, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. I've seen. It was a life coach, was at Devlin before, who really helped me with some shit and give me different perspectives on life and all that shit. Sure. So anyway, Vasyl Lomachenko. So he's got one of them in his camp, in his house all the time. That must be, obviously that's helping him. And it's like what I remember an England boxing coach used to say to me all the time. If you can get 1% better at nutrition, if you can get 1% better at agility, 1% better at speed, 1% better at mind, 1% better at this, or 2% better at this, then adding all them percentage together, overall you're just getting 7% better. Yeah. It's like, wow. And with Lomachenko, he seems to, what we see from the outside looking, he seems to have everything covered, like he's with his psychologist, his diet and everything else.
What's interesting about him too, who's that? People said this about that Earl Spence guy coming up, but he's kind of a boring guy, isn't he? I mean, he's interesting, but he's kind of boring. He's not out there like talking shit about other fighters or
Yeah.
you know, he's not one of those guys like, you know, like Mayweather is.
Yeah, I think with him, with the language, I think it must be hard.
Yeah, that's true.
We've seen him in the ring before. That I can remember fighters when he was pulling himself, saying, "Come and get me," when he was in the corner. You see that one?
Yeah, I don't
where,
think so.
where
I don't know.
he was going walking in the corner, saying, "Come on, come on." So yeah, I think he's got a character about him. But
Yeah.
I just, but yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. For us English who speak English, it's not very marketable when they can't speak great English. You know, like the worst is Triple G.
Yeah.
the worst.
I was gonna say
at
it's
that
so
shit.
funny to listen to him.
You know, he's just the nicest person ever.
Yeah.
And he looks nice as well. He doesn't look like an odd
He does.
bastard as well. So the ESPN pound for pound ratings have just came out, and Lomachenko tops them, followed by Golovkin, Crawford, then Canelo Alvarez, Thurman, Spence, Garcia, Kovalev. I don't even know what that one is. I don't know who that is.
Anu? No idea.
I'm not sure. And then
Wilder.
Deontay Wilder. So Lomachenko tops them. Do you agree?
So they have Wilder on there and not
Anthony Joshua. And it's the ESPN. ESPN's
yeah,
American, isn't
America,
it?
yeah, that's true.
If it was Sky Sports, it might be a little bit different.
Yeah, so they had Golovkin at 2.
Yeah, so they switched them. Golovkin was 1, Lomachenko, and then after Lomachenko's last fight, winning the 3 world title.
It's just interesting to me. I mean, I love Golovkin. I think he's great. I know we differ in opinion on the Canelo fight a little bit, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he hasn't dominated in a few years now, right? I mean, he with Jacobs.
Yeah, he had that tough fight with Jacobs,
And then
then
Canelo.
tough fight with Canelo. But I think they're looking at the W's on the record.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
Yeah, but I would put with the achievement of 3 world champion in 12 fights. I think it's just got to be up there, especially with his background pedigree as well.
Yeah.
And then
Crawford is he's unreal. He's my favorite fighter to watch. I think.
Yeah.
He's great. Do you watch him much?
yeah, I seen his last fight, unbelievable, so good.
Yeah.
Then so Errol Spence as well, another one, great.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one British fighter on there. I mean, obviously it's ESPN's, but there's a few other foreigners on. But Britain's got more world champions than any other country in the world right now, and there's not one of them on the top pound for pound list.
Who would you put on there?
Anthony Joshua.
Right.
I would definitely put Anthony Joshua on there. Maybe Billy Joe Saunders, maybe after his last fight. You know, I don't know. But so I was telling you, like Kovalev's just been announced. Kovalev's fighting Alvarez next, and Alvarez is the Colombian who I boxed in the Olympics, and I beat him in a very, very close fight. And I'm just so happy that he's winning, because I was the last person to beat him, and now he's fighting Kovalev, who's on the pound for pound list. So
How does that make you feel?
I'm buzzing. I'm
Make you
really
feel
happy.
good,
Yeah, it makes me feel real good, especially if he beats him.
Does it make you feel like you could still be fighting though, or you want to still be fighting? No, not at all.
Definitely
Not even an ounce.
Not 1 ounce, because might sound a bit dickish if you're a fighter, but like I kind of feel sorry a little bit for fighters, because now I know the damage it does for the brain, and I know how unaware fighters are of that. Even the top fighters, like I went and watched James DeGill, Olympic gold medalist, in his last fight, very good friend of mine, in Vegas, and he won his world title back, and I'm so happy about that. But I kind of felt sorry at the end of the day. It's like, I mean, he's made loads of money. He's just an example, but like, after this, what are you going to do? Have you got investments? Have you? Because a lot of fighters haven't got investments.
Yeah.
You know. So, no, I'm really happy for this Colombian, because I know there's very little opportunities in Colombia for someone like I'm guessing like him, who's come from the streets and now he's in this big money fight. So I'm very happy for him. I just hope he wins.
Sure.
Then we've started their announcement of Tyson Fury's fighting again in June 9th. We've just had his opponent announced. He's called Sefer Seferi. Sefer Seferi.
What are they doing with that? Is that going to be on like something? Didn't I see they're broadcasting it on something like Facebook Live, not Facebook Live, but something.
Oh, they are? Maybe.
It's something, I don't know, I can't remember what it was. They're doing something new for it, I feel
Might
like.
be YouTube, because I think YouTube's trying to really blow up their live streaming.
Yeah.
So maybe it is. But yeah, he's fighting this Albanian. The Albanians. So Tyson Fury hasn't fought since November 2015. He's fighting this guy who's had 24 fights, 23 wins, with 21 knockouts. And I was like, oh shit.
Big boy.
That's a tough fight. But then I looked into it, and I looked at his opponent. All of his opponents' fights have been at cruiserweight. He's only fought twice in the last 2 years, which were both at cruiserweight. He won them both by knockout. But the last guy who he fought, who he knocked out, had been knocked out 23 times. And the guy we fought before that has been knocked out 10 times. That's in the last 2 years this guy's fought. But with a record like that, the general public don't see that when they look deeper into who this guy's fought. And he's also this guy who he's fighting, out of his 24 fights, 23 wins, only 5 of them opponents have had winning records, which means have won more fights than they've lost. Yeah. So he's fought a lot of journeymen coming up. This guy, which is perfect. And I can really see why they're doing this. It's just, what I think is like, where do these guys come from? Like, how do they build a record like that when it's not that good? How does he get to 24 fights with 23 wins, with 21 knockouts, and he's only now fighting someone? You know? Yeah. You would think.
Well, so I'm assuming he probably fights mostly in Albania, in that area, in that region. I guess I'd imagine they probably. I know boxing, the politics of boxing are pretty shady anyways, but I would imagine in a place like that, it's like they'll throw anybody in the ring.
Maybe that's what they've been doing. They've been building his record, and for a fight like this, now that guy will probably get 800 grand. I don't know, maybe a little bit more to fight Tyson Fury, and then. But it's perfect for Tyson. I hope he comes back and wins. It seems like it's what he needs, because who else is he going to fight? I'd rather and fight someone like this with a good record on paper than fight someone who's a tough bastard with a shit record who's going to make him look bad, you know?
That's true. Yeah.
Because all we want to see is Tyson Fury fight Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder, and so this is just a stepping stone to get there.
What's he looking like these days? I haven't seen him recently.
I put on my Instagram about 6 months ago, Tyson Fury will never fight again. Have you seen that, right?
Yeah, I remember.
Because he was so out of shape.
Huge.
But now he's in shape. He's lost like 5 stone, which is like 150 pounds or something like that. Wow. Which is ridiculous. No, it's not 150 pounds. I think it's 75 pounds. He's looking really good. I've seen his mitt work. He's looking fast. He's looking sharp. Which is only good for boxing. Yeah. He's been a bit quiet now. Did you watch much of him before?
No.
No?
I didn't. No, not until. I remember you first brought him up to me and showed me one of his press conferences. Like, who is this clown? You know? Yeah. He's interesting. I mean, he's hilarious. He's one of those guys. Like when I was talking about Lomachenko earlier, he has so much energy and I guess just character, you know. Yeah. And I think that's a big thing for fighters to sell. Huge thing. And he's got so much character. But I've not really seen any of that since. Like he's joking around and he's messing around and he's big mouth. Not really seen that much of it since he's come back, because he got a 2-year ban, I think it was, for, I might be wrong, for sniffing cocaine. I think it was something like that. I remember. I think Michael White was telling me he was going through it, some rough stuff. Seems like he's had a tough life though. It sounds like so. Yeah.
So Tyson Fury's 6'9", 25 fights, won them all, and his last win was against Klitschko, and he was the one who dethroned Klitschko before Joshua. He was the one who, Klitschko was invincible before he boxed Tyson Fury.
Yeah, and he was the way he did it. You know, it wasn't the most exciting fight, but it's pretty amazing. He was, he's very, very skillful in the way he moved around, controlled the ring, and used his jab. But that's kind of what he's even talking about. If he were to fight like someone like Wilder, like he's like, there'd be no knockout. I would just dance around the ring and jab his head off.
What do you think about Wilder and Joshua? So I know you've watched both of them closely.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I think Wilder is amazing, but it's hard for me to really like him that much. I don't like his character, and for example, he said that he wants to kill somebody in the ring. Like, why would you say that? Did
you hear him say that, or was it just on a read about it?
No, I heard it. I heard him. I saw a clip of it. And I heard him saying it. Yeah, it's just like why? Like why? I get it. I don't get it. But he's from he's from a rough place in Alabama. But it's like why? I just don't like him very much. I'm not crazy about him. Joshua, I think, is a lot more likable of a guy. And you watch Wilder at times when he just gets wild and sloppy, and it's just like if you're a purist in boxing at all, then it's like that turns you off of him a little bit. I think so. I would if I had to bet, I would probably bet Joshua, but I've watched Wilder more than I've watched Joshua as well.
Yeah, I think it's it's a very interesting fight because if it doesn't matter, Wilder will knock you clean out if he can hit you with that shot. But like you said, it is really wild and a big haymaker, which I kind of think is pretty hard to prepare for if you because no one really fights like that. But at the same time, with Joshua's boxing skills, his footwork and his straight punches, that's what will beat him all day long.
Yeah.
And Joshua's an hard bastard as well. To get up off the canvas off Klitschko and come back and win.
That's true.
You've got to respect that.
Well, even Ortiz against Wilder was having success until he just kind of like all of a sudden quit, which was interesting to me. But, I think there was a moment in that fight where I was like, this is it. Ortiz is exposed. Ortiz is going to do it, So I think Joshua was far more skilled, obviously, than Ortiz. And the other thing about Wilder is a lot of people don't realize he was only like 220, 225.
Is that what he was?
He's little, yeah.
Right. Shit.
He's skinny. Like I know on TV he looks massive, but he's a skinny guy.
With that Ortiz fight, that showed us a lot about Wilder as well.
Yeah,
his character, his heart, his determination. Because he was fucked. So we've got these two big guys, Joshua and Wilder, both got big hearts. Who is going to be a proper explosive fight, and it just needs to happen. Any news on that happening? Do you know?
Not that I've heard, but you see headlines all the time. It's near, and then it's like a year later they're still saying the same thing. So, because there was a Wilder put out that he's going to pay $50 million to Joshua if he fights him. Did you see that? No. What I do respect about Wilder is saying he'll go over to England and fight him. I think they'd make more money over there, wouldn't they? Because they at a massive one of those massive stadiums.
Yeah. He sells them stadiums out, which is unbelievable. These huge stadiums. Yeah. What else happened in the boxing world? Do you know?
Truthfully, I haven't been following so much of it recently. There's the fight last night. The Stevenson and
Badou
Jack
yeah.
was a great fight. I was not surprised at all. What did you think the decision? Do you think it was a draw? I was kind of after going into like the 10th round. I was like, this is kind of looking like it's gonna be a draw.
Yeah, I never seen the fight.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, that's right.
No. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Badou Jack's great. Stevenson is great as well. Yeah. So we've got to respect Badou Jack for moving up a weight and fighting him. I was like, ooh, I would have picked Stevenson before the fight.
Yeah, the first half of the fight, Jack threw nothing. I mean, he was throwing like 18, 20 punches around.
Right.
And then Stevenson kind of punched himself out, and in Jack's corner, like, game plan's going perfect. This is exactly what we wanted. In round 5 or 6, Jack turned it on and was really started to take advantage of Stevenson being tired.
Yeah.
He was really hitting him and being effective. And then something, I think it was the 9th or 10th round, it all of a sudden just switched back where I think Stevenson landed a few straight lefts to the body, and you could see that it really affected Jack. And maybe I didn't realize Jack had moved up for that fight, so maybe that little bit extra power of somebody that's used to fighting at that weight was really affected him in those later rounds.
So Jack is now drew 2 of his last 3. He drew with James DeGale as well. Did you ever see that fight when he fought James DeGale?
I don't believe I did.
Yeah, it was when Floyd just retired and Floyd got in the ring and started giving it the big one and just trying to get the limelight, like saying you got robbed and all that. Yeah. And I was like, Floyd, you're just a dick. It's not about you all the time, Let these boys like.
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah. But I think Floyd's been getting his head in the camera for this as well, which is good because it helps sell the fight. It does, with him being there and promoting Badou Jack. What's Floyd doing these days?
It's interesting. They showed Floyd in the locker room talking to Jack before the fight, and this is strictly just from my perspective, looking at it and seeing pictures. It looks like Jack just absolutely hates it. Like, why you're fucking with my head right now? Like, get out of here. Yeah. You see a guy like Mayweather. Like, I can't stand listening to that guy talk. Yeah. I respect him as a fighter, not so much as a person, but like, you could just see that Jack was just like. It didn't look like he was super happy to have him in there. Right. And I think that would mess with my head a little bit. I mean, imagine. I mean, it is Mayweather. Obviously, he knows what he's doing, but
it's probably because Jack knows him by now. He's been with him long enough that all the cameras are in. Floyd comes in.
Yeah.
Floyd follows the cameras in. It wouldn't surprise if the cameras have said, listen, come and talk to him so we can film him. So he's doing that before he's fighting. Like Jack's like, fuck off, how do you want to fight?
Yeah. I'd imagine that would fuck with your head. You have to go into war, you know.
Last thing you want. Well, it's been great having you back on the podcast, Kev.
Yeah.
We're doing these now. So this is the boxing podcast. Next week it'll be live. We'll do boxing and life. But yeah, thank you for listening. And if you are listening to this on iTunes, please leave us a 5-star review. It really helps the show. Remember, if you want to come to the Boxing Burn Academy, the code is Boxing Life 2018. Save $100. That's off the online courses as well. Until next time, I'm Tony Jeffries. This is Kevan Watson.
Thanks for having me.
The Traveller.
Soon to be, yes.
The Traveller. You know what? If you see your Instagram profile picture, your Facebook one, you look like a fucking full-on traveller. You look like Crocodile Dundee.
That's what I'm saying. I might not ever come back. I might just turn into what do they call a gypsy? They just move around everywhere.
All right, we'll see you later.